Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I can go over this great email that was sent from a subscriber. This is from a guy, he's been following my channel for a while. And long story short, unlike many guys before him, this guy, through gaining the knowledge by watching videos from my channel, as well as other guys, he was able to spot major red flags with his girlfriend and then pretty much confront her before she actually cheated on him, because he could see that there were things that didn't quite add up. His gut was telling him something, and he eventually pieced everything together and called her on it, and guess what? He was right. And as you can imagine, she denied the whole thing and twisted things around and make him out to be the bad guy. And it was really great to hear this, guys, because, I talk about all the time I do these videos for lots of reasons, but one reason is to share these stories that so for you guys that are relationship types of guys, and a majority of you are, from what I gathered. This way, then, if you ever see anything that doesn't add up, that there's definite red flags, your gut is telling you something's wrong, you will pay attention to that and save yourself a whole lot of pain, a whole lot of embarrassment, and so on. And so this is a great thing here, and this guy then was able to end it with her, and he's all the wiser and happier. So I'm going to share his story as an example, guys, and I think you're going to like it a lot. And this way, then, again, you guys watching this, for you relationship guys, to always pay attention to the red flags. Because normally, all the stories I do about guys that didn't pay attention to the red flags, didn't listen to their gut. But this time, this guy did. So it starts off, he says, "Hey SSM, please pardon the length of this email. I just felt I had to share it because it has an important lesson of listening to your gut. And on that note, I owe you a massive debt of gratitude. If it wasn't for your channel during this past year, I would most certainly still be a blue pill boy and be currently dating a woman who was cheating on me. But instead, thanks to your advice, I called her out at the right time and got free." Well, that's awesome, bro. But you know what? You're welcome, but also thank you. Thank you, and to the over 100,000 dudes that follow me and watch me all the time for your support. If it wasn't for you guys, I couldn't do what I do. So I help you, you help me. It all works out well. He starts his story saying, "In early April last year, I began dating a gal we'll call W-H-O-R-E. Just kidding. We'll call her K for short. Kay and I knew each other for 7 years and would occasionally see each other at functions of mutual friends. Eventually, we matched on Tinder." Tinder, dude? It kind of adds up to what happened. Met her on Tinder. Successful. Stay away from it. Find another option. We matched on Tinder, and she was the one who pursued me and asked me out. For the first few months, things were really good. Well, they usually are. There were a lot of green flags I liked. Liked her having the same job, place, and car for something like 6 years, which showed me she wasn't erratic in her behavior. Good. I'm glad you paid attention to that. These little things are important about summing up a person's character like that. If she was changing jobs every 6 months, that's going to tell you something about her. Plus, she wasn't a big spender either, and was just as happy with a night in as some fancy dinner out. And most importantly, she would talk about the same pet peeves I have with the dating world today, and how people are only selfish and there's no basic etiquette anymore. And then she's going to go do what she does. For the first time in years, I felt I finally found someone you could have a stable, dependable relationship with. Or so you thought. Come summer, she entered the busy season at work. She works at a company helping relocate new employees on behalf of other companies. And obviously summer is the best time for someone to do so. This came with long hours at work each day, and I knew that because of other friends who work at the same company. During this time, we saw each other very frequently and a couple times a week, although the SEX died down to once a week at most. Well, that's the thing to pay attention to. Now, in the beginning, obviously, you're hooking up left and right. And yeah, sometimes the SEX slows down. It depends on the situation, but got to pay attention to that as well. Furthermore, one night she mentioned that the business has allowed her to reconnect with coworkers via their online chat, whom she has drifted apart from since the beginning of the lockdown, working remotely. Looking back, I could feel a little red flag going up in the back of my head. But that in itself is not enough to get caught up in it, so I just said, "That's nice." Right. Something seemed off. Now, it didn't seem enough to go crazy on, but you pay attention to that. And you start collecting those little red flags until you truly have something to go on. However, fast forward to the fall, and she tried acting like it was good to be back to normal, except that it wasn't really. Yeah, we still got along very well and everything, but we weren't seeing each other as frequently as before the busy season, and the sex hadn't really picked up. Then about a month or so ago, she dropped her first hint that I didn't let slide. So her busy season's over with, and now it's slowed down. It's the fall. So you would think that they would go back to seeing each other a lot more often, and the sex would resume because the busy season was over. Well, no, the opposite's going on. So again, more red flags. She mentioned that her company was starting to require them to go back into the office half-time and work remote the other half. When I asked her details, like if she gets to choose or whatnot, it's almost like she got nervous and gave details that made no sense. Trust that? She said they were requiring half the team to go in 2 days and the other half the other days. I point out that, and he says, I'm a lead development engineer and manage a team of 9. If I had my team in the office 2 days a week, I'd bring everyone in because it's a team. A football team doesn't only send its defense to play away games and have the offense play home games. But she just laughed and said, hey, I just worked there. Yeah, so I know some people that, for instance, they work for companies and their team will go in a couple days a week because it's still the COVID era. They'll go in on Monday and Friday. And then people in other departments, but still part of the company, will go in on Tuesday and Thursday. But you wouldn't split the team in half. That's the part that, again, is fishy here. Again, you got to pay attention to these things. She mentioned that her company was starting to require them to go back in the office. I read that part. Yeah. In hindsight, this was most likely her first attempt to plant a seed at getting by with some behind-the-back cheating during this week. She was probably gauging how blind and dumb I'd be. But by me mentioning that it's a ridiculous thing for her company to do possibly gave her cold feet. This is why when I'd ask a couple of times later when she was going to have to go back in, she would say they haven't heard yet. See? You caught her by surprise. A lot of guys would have figured that out. But by watching this channel on other channels enough to see something could happen, it could even happen to me. We were at her place having a couple friends over for dinner and game night. She kept mentioning how exhausting her day was, so I offered to cook for everyone instead of her having to. While her friends were there and I was cooking, she was acting a bit strange. She was very restless, going to check the fridge for something to drink every few minutes and check with me to see how dinner was going. At this point, I stopped her and asked, "Hey, is everything okay?" When she said yeah, I insisted, "What's wrong?" She just shook her head and said, "You know how bad it is at work for me the Friday before a busy season starts, but I'm okay." She gave me her best attempt at a reassuring smile, but immediately walked away. She was probably going back and forth in the kitchen, texting some dude that she's been having a little thing with, or she liked. That's probably what's going on. I just stood there. I couldn't believe it. I could tell she'd been trying to mention that to me in some way all night. She'd been trying to drop that in. I felt physically sick, but I wasn't going to go cause a scene in front of her friends. So again, he knew something was up here. Later on, when she went for a shower, I said I'd clean up, but I just sat on the couch. It hurt me more than I thought it would. Not because I was head over heels in love, but because I truly thought I found someone who would at least have the decency to end a relationship before pursuing a new one. Unfortunately, welcome to the new era. Sodom and Gomorrah 2.0. I can't tell you the stories I've done where guys thought they had this great girl and the coolest girl ever and blah, blah, blah. And then one way or another, they get cheated on. They find out that something's going on. I mean, it is unfortunate. And you can see why so many guys are like, that's it, I'm done. No more dating. I've been burned enough. And they're done. They're happier focusing on themselves, their purpose, hanging out with their bros, getting an awesome dog, or if you're a cat person, a cat, because I'm a cat person, fish, lizards, frogs, snakes, whatever the hell pet you want. And they're good for a while. Maybe to the world, the madness stops. Who knows? He says, when she came out of the shower, I calmly confronted her. I told her I know that it's not their busy season because people don't relocate during school season for their kids. Exactly. Potential new hires would accept offers at a lower rate, meaning her clients would be wasting money on trying to make this their busy new season. She just stood there, wrapped in her towel, trying to come up with something, but no words came out. She did not expect this from you at all. She expected you just to go along with this, like, okay. Remember, guys, where he met her. Tinder. Stay away from Tinder. I told her us men aren't stupid. Our gut tells us when something is wrong. And I can't indignify myself by ignoring it. I told her I just want to know why she would deliberately try to deceive me like that. I understand why some people lie sometimes. It's no excuse, but sometimes someone makes a mistake and lies because they don't want to make things worse. But to deliberately try to deceive someone like that is such a premeditated manner so you could hook up with someone at the office during this busy season is beyond effed up. I told her I never thought she would think it was okay to treat someone like this. Now, listen to how she reacts. Do you think she comes clean? Do you think she says, I'm sorry? Nope. She immediately got angry and defensive and threw it back in my face. Imagine that. I don't remember her exact words, but it was to the extent of, I can't believe you think that of me. And if so, I misjudged you, and you can get the hell out. She twisted it around and made him the bad guy. I just rolled my eyes as my way of thanking her for proving her guilt with her response. If my significant other thought I was cheating and I wasn't, I would do everything to reassure them that it wasn't true. Exactly. How many stories have you guys listened to? Because I'm sure the guys that watch me almost every day have heard plenty where the guy suspects something's going on, and eventually, usually after there's already been affairs and cheating and wrongdoings going on, he confronts her, and she responds just like this. You know, I mean, I can't believe you think this of me, and blah blah blah. Get the hell out. When if something was going on, most people would actually, I mean, if something wasn't going on, you'd be like, no, I didn't. You'd respond in a different way. I asked you to please just do the right thing. I asked you to please get tested for STDs and send me the results. This is because under the Affordable Care Act, women can get a full gamut of STD tests, among other things, at no out-of-pocket expense. However, since the vast majority of testing sites are private companies and no such rules apply for men, it cost me over $200 to get the full test. Now, wait a second. How come us guys got to pay a whole bunch of money to get the results of a test like that, and the gals get it for free? Something screwed up there. He says that if she's clean, it would save me the trip. I told her that if she just did that one decent thing for me, from now on, anytime anyone asks about us, I just smile and say nothing but positive things about her and the relationship, and it simply didn't work out. Not that I'm into trashing exes, but I'm not holding my breath. Anyway, I know this was a bit long, and I appreciate you reading it. Once again, I just thought I would share, because if I didn't listen to my gut and have the guts to say anything, we'd probably still be together, and I would know something was wrong in the back of my head at night while she was working late with a colleague. I think I'll check out for dating for a while, which is a bitter pill to swallow. For other guys, my advice is don't get too ahead of yourself thinking you can be one of the guys who can date smart and strategically. Even when you do, you can just as easily get bitten. Moral of the story, we hear about women's intuition all the time. Men have an intuition too. Let's start paying attention to it. Thanks again for everything, SSM. Cheers. Well, that's quite a story, man. I mean, it wasn't as long as you said it was, but yeah. Good job for you for trusting your gut, because a lot of people don't. And it's not that people don't sense something's going on. It's just, honestly, they don't want to believe it. I mean that's a very hard thing to accept, that someone you deeply care about, been with a long time, maybe a wife, and if this was the mother of your kids, is doing something like that. It's very easy just like, it's my imagination, I'm making things up, because nobody wants to imagine that. And it goes both ways. If from a woman's perspective, if her husband was doing this to her, she doesn't want to imagine that either, even though she would definitely have the intuition that something's going on. But you got to have the strength to pay attention always. You got to keep your eyes open. It's unfortunate. And trust your gut and add things up. Because people that are just blind to these things, a lot of times they get burned. Does it happen every time? No, of course not. But enough times, you got to be aware of these things. So this is why I do what I do to help guys out. And hopefully, somewhere in this world, somebody's watching this right now, or maybe 6 months from now or a year from now, they watch this video thanks to this guy, and this will help them out down the road, as if the other stories I've done from you guys have helped this guy out here. So thank you to you guys always sending your stories, because that's helped out this guy. Now he's helping out someone else. So we're all helping each other out here. It's a brotherhood. So anyhow, this guy wrote this in. Thank you for sending your story. I appreciate it. Focus on yourself. Focus on your purpose. Keep doing what you're doing, and you'll figure things out. But good for you having the strength and the balls to do something about it. So, all right, guys, that is it for today. It's a quick one. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And, guys, as always, if you ever have a great story you'd like to share, something you've overcome, by all means, email it to me and I'll cover it. This also includes crazy stories that you find online, great articles that could definitely be helpful to the community. Send it over and I will cover it. However, I get bombarded with emails every day. Articles, personal stories. So if I don't get to it right away, just be patient and I will get to it eventually. I got a whole list of things to go through. I'm doing a video here on this channel at least once a day, sometimes twice a day. So I'm trying to crank them out as fast as I can, but I only got so many hours in the day to do all this amongst the many other things that I do. So, all right, guys, and be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.